Aviation is a 20-minute language-based educational card game for 3 to 4 players. It is designed for learners of English as a second language to learn to make simple sentences in the English language in a game-like journey. The goal of the game is to be the first player to get 30 points. The game plays out in 3 stages. First, shuffle the pilot cards and deal each player 1 card to determine the pilot characters. Each player reads out the special ability on the pilot card and places the pilot card face up. Next, set up the game. Divide the point cards into 3 piles. Place them in a row. Divide the play cards into 4 piles based on the card back colors. Add tricky cards to the action card pile. Dealer starts first. Play moves to the left. On a turn, each player can make up to 3 moves. Player can either trade a card, play a tricky card, or use a special ability. Player can use a special ability up to 3 times maximum. Making a sentence is not considered a move. Player draws a card from the adjective, character, action, and object card piles. Player makes a sentence and totals the points. Player keeps the action card face up and discard the other cards into the discard piles. To score, all players must agree that the constructed sentence makes sense. For example, Jane draws the following cards. She makes a sentence. The short girl orders a yellow cap impatiently. She gets 6 points. Special rule. Player can use up to 3 adjectives and 2 adverbs in each sentence. What happens when you can't make a sentence? You can trade a card when you can't make a sentence with a drawn action card. Only action cards can be traded. There are 3 ways to trade a card. First, player self-trades an action card. For example, Jane draws the following cards. She cannot make a sentence with the action word eat. Jane looks at her action cards. She self-trades eat with order. She can now make a sentence. The elderly man orders a Coke impatiently. Jane gets 5 points. When you self-trade an action card, points do not matter. Secondly, player can trade an action card with any opponent. For example, Jane has the action card eat in hand. It is worth 1 point. Jane wants to trade her action card eat with John's action card like. John's action card like is worth 2 points. So Jane has to trade using either 2 action cards, which are worth 2 points in total, or 1 action card plus a point card, or 2 point cards. When you trade a card with an opponent, the opponent can choose the cards he wants or opt not to trade. What happens when a player can't trade a card and can't make a sentence? Player will have 0 scores. Discard all the drawn cards in the discard piles. Except the Black Eagle, the player cannot play a tricky card or use a special ability. On a turn, player can use up to 2 verbs to make a sentence. Player can make a sentence with a drawn action card and an action card in hand. What happens when the player does not know the meaning of a word? Player can use 1 point to check the meaning with a mobile phone or check with a friend. Players can also set their own rules. All cards except the pilot cards and tricky cards have points. Here is the pilot card. Each pilot has a name, a special ability, and the criteria to use the special ability. Each crew card has a point value. Some crew cards have bonus points. Each passenger card has a point value. Each object card has a point value. Player can choose any one out of the 3 choices displayed in the object card. Each action card has a point value. It has a verb and 2 adverbs. On a turn, player can use up to 2 adverbs in each sentence. Action cards can be traded more than once. Discard the action cards after use. There are 4 adjectives on each adjective card. Each adjective has a different point value. On a turn, player can use up to 2 adjectives in each sentence. There are 4 types of tricky cards. Use steal point cards to steal points from any player. Miss a turn if player draws a crying baby card. If player does not have an undo miss a turn card, player will miss a turn for only 1 round. Player may take a turn in the next round. Discard the card after use. To get back into the game, player can use a pacifier card to undo a miss a turn. There are 3 types of point cards: 1 point, 5 points, and the 10 points cards. These are the basic rules of Aviation. As you play along, you are free to modify the rules to suit your own learning needs.